Alright, so welcome back guys, or welcome if this is your first time here. I'm Vision here with Blind Entertainment, bringing you guys another video. Today I'm going to be doing my thoughts and opinions on the new poster for Season 5 of Fear the Walking Dead, as well as going over the titles and synopsises for the first 8 episodes of Fear the Walking Dead Season 5. So if Fear the Walking Dead is something you're interested in, don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below and hit that bell icon. That way to miss more future Fear the Walking Dead content from me moving forward. Now let's begin. So right off the bat, I'm going to talk about the new poster. Now, poster-wise, I think they did a good job. I like the orange background. It really looks cool. The blue sky, fine. I think my biggest con with the poster altogether would have to be the stances of Alicia and Strand. Now, granted, I know they look cool. They look like they're jumping and flying or whatever. But it just looks silly and kind of stupid to me, if you want my honest opinion. Look, I'm not going to... If you like it, that's cool. If you like that, that's cool by you. But to me, it just looks silly and stupid. Like, this is what you do with them. John Dory's cool. I like what they got him doing. That's a tad bit cringy, but I can put up with that a little bit more because he's at least in like a normal stance. Like the other, like everybody else is pretty much in a normal stance except for those two. Unless they're trying to put a lot of emphasis on their original 2 characters, that's fine. But I feel like, to me, it just looks really, really stupid and cringy. But overall, I think it's a pretty good poster, and I really like how they're promoting it with the different colors. And I just hope that this season they cut it out with the gray background and give us a lot more color and vibrant background and scenery in Season 5. Because I think that hurt Season 4 a lot. Because I know a lot of fans didn't like that, myself included. So I kind of hope they continue with these vibrant colors in Season 5. First up, we got Episode 1, titled Here to Help. Now, the synopsis for this episode reads... Led by Morgan and Alicia, the group lands in uncharted territory in search of survivors to help, but everything is not as it seems in this forbidden new land. Now, this is very interesting, especially given the fact that it says the lands. I know a lot of people are speculating that they are going to be going in a plane. I don't know what's going on with that. I feel like that might be just misleading. I don't believe that, but who knows what could be going on. Now, one thing I find very interesting with this synopsis is it says it's led by Morgan and Alicia. So I feel like Alicia's definitely going to get more screen time. Her character form is to be the dynamic ally, so it would make more sense that she's helping Morgan lead this group. It makes sense. And I'm interested to see where they take this. From what I understand, we'll be introduced to the 2 new kids in this episode, Dylan and Max. So I'm interested to meet them and see them because they seem pretty cool from the trailer at least. And I'm just excited to see where they take this in the premiere and what they set up for Season 5 in the premiere. Next, we got Episode 2 titled The Hurt That Will Happen. Now the synopsis for this episode reads, Morgan and Alicia meet a new survivor and learn a grave new walker threat. Meanwhile, the mission is put to the test when one of their own goes missing. Elsewhere, Strand makes contact. Now, from what I understand, this will be the first appearance of that new girl, Annie. So I think Annie and the boys probably are going to be somehow connected to these radioactive walkers in some kind of way. Because that's the only new grave threat I can think of right off the top of my head. Unless we're going to be introduced to a new villain. But I think at this moment I'm going to assume it's the radioactive walkers. Now, one of their own going missing. From what the Wikia says, now I don't read like spoilers or anything. Now I'm just going off what the Wikia website says, that it's Al that goes missing. So I'm curious to see what goes on with that. Then we got Strand making contact. Now, we see from the trailer that he ends up running into Daniel. Is he making contact with Daniel? Or is he making contact with another survivor that we might meet? There's rumors of this new character being introduced this season. So I'm curious, named Logan. So I think it could be him. Not sure, but I think that could definitely be a possibility for that new character being, or that new person he's making contact with. Next, we got episode 3 titled Humbug Gulch. Now, the synopsis for this episode reads, June and John take shelter to hide from a new threat, but a misunderstanding with a desperate survivor leads to trouble. Meanwhile, Alicia and Morgan face a dangerous obstacle. Now, from what I understand from the wiki, and now I get this all from the wiki, I don't read any spoilers. The desperate survivor is said to be Dwight. So this will be the first appearance of Dwight in Fear the Walking Dead. This is also Alicia Debnam Carey's 50th episode appearance, so that's pretty cool. Now the episode title, from what we are told, it comes from the place that John Dorie used to work at. I guess it's some kind of club or whatever that he used to work at, a rodeo club. So that's kind of cool. Now, as for the title, we know that John Dorie and June will run into Dwight. I'm curious to see what goes on there. And Morgan and Alicia, dangerous obstacle. I'm assuming that's the radioactive walkers, and I'm going to assume that the threat that John Dorie and June face is the radioactive walkers. Again, we don't know any villains yet. So I'm assuming right now it's just going to be radioactive walkers and nothing else, because as of right now, we are led to believe there's no, human villain, but they could just be hiding that. So right now we don't know what the human villain actually could be. Next we got episode 4 titled Skidmark. Now the synopsis for this episode reads: Charlie makes a new friend while Strand, Wendell, and Sarah's rescue mission hits a snag. Elsewhere, Alicia, Luciana, and Morgan struggle to fulfill their mission. Now, this is very interesting with Charlie making a new friend. I'm assuming that it's the cat that we've seen. We know there's going to be a new cat. From what I understand, the cat is named Skidmark, so that's where the title comes from. Now, one thing I'm really excited for is the Wendell, Sarah, and Strand rescue mission. Because that's something I really wanted to see last season, and I'm glad we're going to get it this season, because I feel like Strand has a lot of similar behaviors and qualities to the twins. So I really want to see more screen time between the three of them, because I think they'd make a very interesting trio. Because I really believe that they have a lot of similar personalities, behaviors. So I'm very interested to see what goes on there. Alicia and that rescue mission, I think that has something to do with how Alicia's just frustrated about how they're not being able to find people the way she had imagined it. So I think that's where that's going to come into play here, is that she's just frustrated that they're not being able to find people the way she imagined that they would, and she's just kind of getting frustrated with it all at this point. Next, we got episode 5, The End of Everything. Now, the synopsis for this episode reads: Ophelia chases a story with dogged determination, putting the mission and her life in danger. Now, I feel like this is going to end up being a bottle episode. I'm going to predict right here, right now, that this is probably going to be the story of what's happened with Dwight between him leaving at the end of season 8 and showing up here. I think she's going to be trying to get his story, and we might find out what happened to him during that time period that we skipped throughout his story. Maybe he found Sherry, maybe he didn't, maybe she's dead. We don't know. So I think that might be what this covers, is what happened to him. Because as of right now, there's no other character that we know of that she would be chasing a story, unless it's Troy, which I really hope it's not Troy. It could be Daniel, but from what I understand, he's showing up, I think, in the next episode. So at this point, I'm assuming it's Dwight, but really it could be anybody, and I think it would make more sense right now for at this point where they would be at the story. I think it'd make more sense for it to be Dwight. Next, we got episode 6, entitled The Little Prince. Now the synopsis for this episode reads: Facing impossible odds, Luciana and the group work together to tackle an impossible task, while Morgan helps prevent disaster. Elsewhere, an old friend presents Sarah, Charlie, and Strand with a solution. Now, from what I understand from the Wikia, now again, I only go off of that, I don't read spoilers, is that this is said to be the return of Daniel. This will be the episode Daniel returns in. So from what I understand, the old friend is Daniel. Now, the title, I'm assuming, comes from the book that Luciana gave Charlie last season. Now, I'm thinking this might be a Charlie and maybe Luciana-based episode. We know Luciana wants to go after some kind of an accordion for some reason. I hope it's nothing other than just for stupid reasons. If it's a stupid reason, I'm going to be pissed. But I think that might be the task they're referring to. Morgan keeping them from facing disaster could have something to do with that. Maybe it's a dangerous mission. I don't know. But I'm excited for the return of Daniel the most in this episode. If this ends up being like the accordion thing, I'm going to be annoyed. If it's something stupid, I'm curious to see what the solution Daniel presents them with is. Because I think that it'll go into a lot of like what happened to him since he's been gone. So I'm very interested and excited for that the most out of this episode. Next, we got episode 7 titled Still Standing. Now the synopsis for this episode reads, Strand and Charlie seek safety. Dory helps Dwight on his quest. Morgan stays focused on the greater mission elsewhere. Alicia refuses to give up. Now, I'm curious to see the Strand and Charlie's, how that thing works out, given Strand's relationship with Nick. I hope that they didn't push this back long enough and it's just boring and stupid. I really hope it actually amounts to something, unless they're going to just say that they mended their relationship over time, which I'd actually be okay with. Dory and Dwight is very interesting. I'm interested to see their dynamic on the show and what quest he's on. Is he still looking for Sherry, or is this a new quest? Then you got Morgan and his mission. I'm curious to see what goes on there, because I feel like Alicia and him might be at the opposite ends. Or maybe they're at the same, like doing the same thing. Maybe he's trying to help her complete her mission and she's just not willing to give up, and he's trying to say, you know, sometimes you have to. I don't know. But I'm curious to see what goes on. This looks like a very interesting episode. Of course, it being close to the mid-season finale, it probably will be a very interesting and good episode. Last, we got episode 8 titled, Is Anybody Out There? Now, the synopsis for this episode reads, Up against the clock, Morgan, Grace, and Alicia work to buy time as Dory and Dwight race against the elements. Meanwhile, Sarah and Wendell get help from an unlikely source. Now, this is very interesting. Now, we know Grace is in this episode. Now, I haven't mentioned Grace. She's a new character. There's a lot of potential she could have been put in other areas of the synopsises, but we don't know it, just to hide stuff. But I'm very interested to see what goes on with Grace, especially her dynamic with Alicia and Morgan. I have a theory on Grace I'm going to make a video about soon, but I'm curious to see what goes on there. Dory and Dwight face the elements. I'm very curious to see what goes on there. Probably Dory's still helping Dwight on his quest, so curious to see what goes on there. And Sarah and Wendell getting help from an unexpected source. That, now, I'm gonna predict here, either that has some kind of tie to the Rick Grimes movies, or that's gonna be working its way into the third spin-off series that was announced recently. One of those two odds. Now, this third spin-off is The Next Generation, so it probably won't be them. I really hope it is, because I don't want the Rick Grimes movies involved in Fear. I know fans want to see Morgan and Rick get back together, but I really don't want the movies and Fear to be connected. I want them to stay separate, so I hope it's something different. Or maybe the source is leading us into something that's coming into the second half of the season. It could be the new villain that we don't know about yet. We got new casting recently, so it could be that guy being the new villain. I'm not sure, but I think there's a lot of good stuff heading into this season, and I think just by looking at these synopsises, I think the first half of season 5 could be an improvement from the second half of season 4. But let me know your thoughts and opinions about them all in the comment section down below. So yeah, guys, those are my thoughts and opinions on the new poster for season 5 of Fear the Walking Dead, as well as my thoughts, opinions, and some predictions for the synopsises and titles of the first 8 episodes of season 5 of Fear the Walking Dead. As always, if you like this video, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up and share. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below and hit that bell icon. That way you don't miss more future Fear the Walking Dead content from me moving forward. This has been Vision here with Blind Entertainment, and I'll see you next time.